Hey there, let me know if the sound works. Otherwise, I'm just going to start ripping into machines. You may hear background noises, lots of background noises. People might be going in and out, and that's okay. But please let me know if you can hear me. This thing gave me a lot of trouble. I tried everything in software, and nothing worked. This is one of the Dells that has the hybrid graphics where it's got a nice NVIDIA GPU, and it's got an Intel GPU. And unfortunately, one of the big problems is that there is a game that they want to be able to play on this that they can't without the NVIDIA chip. Just one game. What happens is the NVIDIA chip will work at first when the driver's installed. Any of the drivers, it will appear. But then if you actually try to use it, Windows will stop it because it has, quote, reported problems. And if you hammer drivers, try to get the thing to work, eventually you'll manage to crash it with nvddlnkm.sys blue screen or something to that effect. It's very frustrating, and it's not exactly helping them play their game. So I did some looking up online, and one person did a reflow, and it fixed the NVIDIA GPU problem. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't like doing reflows. I really hate having to do full disassemblies. But in this case, what choice do I really have? Let's see if I can get some zoom on this. Hang on just a second. There we go. That's a little bit better. Not a lot better, but a little bit. Honestly, I don't understand why that's crooked. Hold on. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. All right. You know what would be really nice is if we could just reflow things in here. By the way, let me see if I can show you, if you haven't seen it already, over here, yeah, you can't see it very well, but this is my Yiwa 8786D hot air reflow station down here, which I only break out for, it's like my finest china, except it's not china, it's a reflow station. So anyway, I need to get out the, let's go ahead and pull the RAM, because it's going to have to come out no matter what. God, I don't want to do this. Ew, look at that thermal pad. Oh, yummy. Oh, look at, oh, yeah. Anybody want some chewing gum? Floppy chewing gum? No, not really. You know, I think we can actually leave that. We don't have to take that off. Let's leave it. Okay. All right. I don't know if I've ever done a full disassembly on one of these before. I've seen a couple, but I don't know if I've done a full disassembly on them. It's, yeah. So, we'll find out. I don't remember doing one. So this is my first time. This sucks. I don't want to be doing this. If you haven't noticed, if I haven't made it clear, I don't really want to be doing this, but it's probably the only thing that will fix the problem. Otherwise, they're basically buying another laptop because they can't run the game. And that's stupid. No, removing the battery isn't going to fix a hardware problem. It's not gonna fix the GPU glitching up after power offs. It's just not. The chances of that actually being a workable solution are basically zero. So no, we're not going to just pull the battery and go, herder, I hope it works. We're going to reflow this bad boy. The thing is, someone else on the internet did a reflow to fix this, and it fixed it. And if at least one person has already had the same exact weird problem, and they said, I did a reflow and it fixed it, then that's a good indicator that I should at least try a reflow. It's not like a properly done reflow will damage anything, unless it was already really, really bad off to start with and was going to break anyway. So, yeah. That's weirdly screwed in. This fan over here is weirdly screwed in. Why is this? Yes, this thing over here is a thermal pad. It's a wax pad that brings the Samsung SSD here into contact with the rear lid. The bottom lid. I said lid. It's the bottom plate, you know. It sinks off some of the heat by draining it out of the SSD into the plate. It's actually a really handy way for things that don't need much heat sinking power to get drained off. This looks like it comes up. The video connector looks like it comes up. Just realized you can't see some of what I'm doing. There is a little handle here. It does in fact come up. Yeah, there we go. And it feeds through this. And let's go ahead and just move it out of the way. Let's see. Are these fans attached separately? It looks like they are. Yeah, do they use different screws? No, I tell you, at least guess who didn't silence the phone? Nah, lady, you're gonna have to wait a minute. Sorry. Can't help you right now. Busy flowing. Busy reflowing. Alright, put these fans off to the side when I get them out. But yeah. You know what? If I'm more comfy operating over here, why don't we just adjust the camera to compensate? What do you say? Pew, there we go. No, a reflow is not disassembling and reseating things. A reflow is removing the board and then heating up the chips, the ball grid array chips on the board, to the point that the solder underneath them melts, thus flows again. A reflow, you make it liquid so that if there's cracks that have formed that have broken and caused bad contact, it liquefies the solder on either side of the crack and it flows back together. So at least that's the idea. There's a big old chunk of dust right there. Look at that. I bet you that's animal hair. Yeah, typical. Yeah, no, reflowing a board. I've got a hot air rework station, but for about a decade I used a paint stripping heat gun. Honestly, the heat gun kind of works better. It puts out a lot more heat. And but I've got a proper rework station now, so I just use that to look cool, I guess. The heat gun was fine. After buying the rework station, the only advantage is that there's also a soldering iron attached, so if I need to heat things up and solder them, I don't have to juggle a separate iron and a big clumsy paint stripping heat gun. The rework station also shuts down and cools off the heat gun part if you put it in the carrier. Like, it detects that the gun is in the carrier and shuts down the thermal element and runs the fan until the temperature drops below a certain point. I'm starting to think that these screws may not all be the same length after all. Yeah, those are outside screws. I need to separate these. Alright, these look like they're... Okay. Sorry, I wasn't keeping good track of the screws, and that could have been a mistake, or it could have not. Alright. I need this heatsink to come out. This giant plate here. This reminds me of the last stream. Yeah, people fixing Xbox 360s in an oven, they were doing a reflow, and in fact, at the factory, that's how a lot of these electronics are made. They bathe the boards in a solder bath, which all the various pads and stuff they that are exposed, they get dipped in solder, and then they use a pick and place machine, which very amazingly quickly runs around and picks up the teeny tiny parts and puts them very precisely on the board where they're supposed to go. There we go. Heat sinks up. How old is this grease? That grease needs replacement. We will definitely be replacing that thermal grease. I'm going to move that pad. Where does that pad go exactly? It goes... yeah. It's not the best placed pad, to be honest. But yeah, it goes very close to here. No, no. Don't fold over, you weirdo. Don't fold over. Be a pain in my butt. There it goes. Okay. So the wax pads aren't in my way, at least. Great. There's a lot of BGA chips on here. Okay, let's get some more stuff pulled off. We've got a... I tell you what, let's drop the camera. Yeah, let's just do this right here so you can see a little better. Yeah, okay. That's the power jack. It just needs to be pivoted out of the way. Oh yeah, don't get me started on lead-free solder. That pisses me off too. Let's get this Wi-Fi card over here, way over here. Card's way over here, and it needs to come off. At least enough to get it out of the way. Fortunately, with the Reflow, you don't have to take literally everything out. But anything holding the motherboard down, anything plugged into the motherboard, it's all fair game. So, let's see. There's a screw. Actually, there's a whole bunch. Hold on. Right here, under this piece of tape, there's a screw here. There's probably one somewhere in between, but let's look. Nope, there's just one screw hiding there. Let's get these board screws out, because I think we're almost free and clear here. There's a board screw. Here's one. Come on. There's one here. They have nifty little white arrows that point and tell you where the screws go. So, although sometimes the arrows actually can be deceiving. Like I see an arrow over here that is not for that board. There's no board screw that's supposed to go there. I think a battery or something goes there. Let's see. Alright, that's coming up. That's coming up, but this is down pretty hard. So what is holding this side? Is it the sockets? What is holding this side down? Gotta be careful. You don't want to... What is that? What is going on there? What is going on there? Is there some kind of an interface between this lower board and... There's a board under the board. And I think we need to lift evenly to lift it up, maybe. Or maybe not. Is that a screw right there? We're going to have to do a little exploratory surgery. Hold on just a second. Okay. Right here. Under here. Nope, I don't see anything. So I do wonder, why is this sticking in here? Is there anything through any slots? No. No, but the way this is set up here, it really looks like there's probably... There is a daughter board here, and it's coming up, actually. It looks like it's lifting now. So I need to get this speaker connector unhooked. And this thing is so tiny, I'm afraid I'm going to break it. I don't like this. I do not like this. Can we just separate them? No, we cannot just separate them. This is going to have to come out, and my fingernail is not big enough. This is not great. Alright, hold on. Yeah, that's too big. This speaker connector is teeny tiny. Oh, but it came up. So whatever I did was right. Good. Now that daughter board should lift up off this peg. Yeah, I felt something give, and I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Is there... There's a cable over here that I missed. There is one... You can't see it, can you? There's a skinny little cable right here. Right over here that I missed. By the way, I'm streaming in 1440p. If you want more quality to look at, check your resolution, because I always like to stream in 1440 now that I got a Camlink 4K. So what was that grabby feeling I had? Something felt like it wasn't letting go, but I don't see anything. And sure enough, that daughter board does have some screws right here holding it to the motherboard. So I did the right thing by pulling the speaker wire. There was probably no other way to get it out. Now, let's get this out of here. Oop. All right. Bring in the silicone mat in the hopes that we do not burn the house down. Okay. Now, this is where it gets fun. Foil templates and a temperature gun that I just put new batteries in because it was getting really weak. Okay. Also, let's go ahead and just wipe off this heatsink paste. I might need to go get a real paper towel instead of using toilet paper. Yeah. Some of you who have seen an alternative angle of my work area know that there's a roll of toilet paper on a long, like 3-inch bolt coming off one of my shelves that I use to take care of various personal needs, but it's also really handy if you just want to wipe some thermal paste off the top of a chip before you reflow. Whoop-de-doo. Ew. Uh-oh, we just had a power flicker. I hope you can still hear me, because if the power goes out, the stream will stop. Let me know. Let me know. It looks like, yeah, it's still up. We're still up. We're still good. We're still good. All right. Do I ever do reballing? No. No. I don't do... excuse me. I don't do any kind of component level repair other than capacitors. I don't replace or repair surface mount parts. I don't reball BGA chips. Nobody who would ever come to me would know what reballing even is. So no, none of that. Absolutely none of that falls under my purview. Everything I do kind of stops at the reflow is basically the most complicated thing. The reflow and the cap replacement on desktops is the most complicated stuff that I'm willing to do. The problem is that there's a lot... for reballing, you have to have extra equipment. You've got to buy the reballing balls. I mean, there's all kinds of crap. I looked into it a long time ago and decided, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm not buying all that stuff. It's not worth it. It just isn't. You can replace it. You know, and that's the thing, is if the parts plus the expertise plus the time to do the work all add up to the point that you'd have to charge too much relative to replacing the computer or the part, you know, as a whole, then it's just not worth it. Unless you're going to do it in bulk. Unless you're going to do it a whole bunch, in which case it becomes worth it. The same reason I don't do cell phones. I don't repair cell phones in any capacity. And it's not that I'm not capable of doing it. If you handed me an iPhone, I can replace the screen in it. Probably. Using an iFixit guide. You know, that's not a problem. The problem is volume. People don't want to pay what it costs to get a screen replaced around here. I don't live in New York City. I don't live where a bunch of rich snobs live. I live in a somewhat rural area that's seeing a lot of growth, but, you know, if I tell someone it's going to cost $200-something to fix their computer, half of them will be okay with it, and half of them will go, okay, I'll just buy a new one. Or I just won't get it fixed, or whatever. I'll use a tablet. Whatever, you take your pick. That's a big problem with doing computer repair. And yeah, you mentioned Louis Rossmann. I watched a bunch of his videos, especially a couple years ago. I still kind of keep up with him, but I don't watch his stuff as much anymore. I am interested in learning board level repair. I'm not interested in offering it as a service that I do for money, for just anybody who walks up. I'm not paying for a microscope and an ultrasonic cleaner and a fume extractor and all that crap. I'm just not doing it. And my hands are funky with the surface mount stuff anyway. I've always had bad luck doing those repairs, so I just don't want to deal with it. I just don't. And that's the beauty of it, is since I run the business, I can do whatever the hell I want. You know, like, for example, if I was to do reballing or reflowing or whatever, there are machines out there that can verify that the work, you know, that can verify that it's broken, and that can verify that any reflow, reball, whatever, has been done correctly. There is equipment out there to do that. Now, Jody, why don't you buy that equipment? You could make sure your work is done right. You could not waste time doing the reflow work. Well, see, here's the problem. I don't want to spend $500,000 I don't have on an electronics x-ray machine. How am I going to make 500 grand back? Assuming I could get that in the first place. And honestly, if I could get 500 grand, do you really think that I would be spending it on an x-ray machine? Hell no. I'd be spending it as seed money to start a whole new business venture. I don't know. Maybe, like a dildo shaped like a cat or something that meows at you when it detects tension. I have no idea. But I wouldn't spend it on an x-ray machine. I can tell you that much right now. This chip is almost where it needs to be. I heat things up until I start registering 370 degrees Fahrenheit. Sometimes a little higher. The problem tends to be if like someone mentioned lead-free solder. That stuff is a major pain for this kind of work. If you have lead-free solder, it melts at a hotter temperature, and yeah, if you do a reflow and you get it up to 360 Fahrenheit, lead-free might need it to be 370 or 380, depending on the solder. But I have no way of knowing what solder these people used. How would I know? No, seriously, how the hell would I know? And honestly, a lot of this is just getting the board hot enough that it stops draining all the heat off of the chip I'm actually targeting. We're up to about 367. It's still sucking all my heat down. I saw 370. Yeah, I'm seeing 370. Make sure we got 370 all the way around, though. It doesn't do much good if you don't reball, or if you don't reflow all of it. Hang on a second. Now, you might be asking, how can he just grab that template and move it over like that? Well, it's a thin piece of aluminum foil. Oh, by the way, aluminum foil is covered in wax. So, that's pretty cool. Oh, God. Oh, God, that lady's calling. Oh, crap. Well, if she's calling, she's got a real problem. I'm sure. I'll deal with that after the stream's over. I don't know the details on lead-free solder. My understanding is that adding the lead to the solder makes it stick better. It has a lower melting point. But, you know, restriction on hazardous substances, because lead in the drinking water makes your children stupid. And don't get me wrong, lead in the drinking water is a very serious problem. So I'm not going to be like, oh no, lead's fine, just chug more lead. That's dumb. But, yeah. I get it, but lead-free solder, at least to some extent, was responsible for a lot of electronics failures in the 2000s, especially when ROHS hit. The earlier lead-free solders were notoriously not great. They melted higher. They weren't, you know, just stuff wasn't set up to deal with it. And the formulations still had some kinks to work out. I mean, obviously things improve over time, so by now lead-free solder isn't as bad as it was. But still. Alright. This angry NVIDIA chip over here is 370. Let's get the RAM. Let's get the RAM just in case the RAM has something to do with it. Honestly, the RAM is already so hot. Might not need my help. Yeah, that RAM right there is really hot. How about this RAM? What's it look like? See, there's no point in reflowing just the NVIDIA chip and not reflowing the VRAM beside it. Yeah, it's all hot enough. Okay. And there's one more BGA chip, but because the problem's with the NVIDIA chip and it's close to some other stuff, I'm not keen on messing with it in any capacity. I'd just rather not. It's right here, if you can't tell. But I don't want to reflow that chip. The problem's with the NVIDIA chip only. This chip is probably not involved. I could reflow it just as a paranoia thing, but it's real close to this fan connector, the display connector. I'd have to remove this stupid black stuff, which is notoriously hard to get back on. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to put the heat right there, if I can help it. These chips have plenty of room around them. That one doesn't. How hot are you? You're probably still scorching, aren't you? 220. 250. So I can still boil water on these things. Yep. It's going to take a while. In the meantime, let's just sit here and sniff the fumes. Well, I guess I'm the only one who gets to enjoy that. You all just sort of get to laugh at me. Let's see. A lot of decisions that I make that seem kind of stupid to computer nerds are business decisions. They're not technical decisions. For example, you know, the SSD on this thing, like if I was replacing it, would I replace it with a cheap SSD or an expensive one? Well, if I pay double the price, I can get an SSD that has much higher throughput. Does the customer care? Will the customer notice? Almost certainly not. They probably will never notice and never care. So why would I charge them an extra $100 to get a turbo fast 1 terabyte if they would be fine with a, you know, just a $110 cheaper PCI Express 1 terabyte? What's the point? But I've had people on previous streams criticize me for buying a what do you call it? The cheapo, like PNY 240 gigabyte solid states. Like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you give them a bigger drive? Why wouldn't you give them a faster drive? Why wouldn't you pay more for a better drive? Because if I can shave off $20, it can mean the difference between the customer saying yes and the customer saying no. And most customers are moving from hard drives to an SSD, so they don't care. And that's the thing, is just it serves their needs, but it doesn't get unnecessarily expensive. And if I tried to explain the difference in performance to these people, they might get it, they might not. It might just confuse them, and they might just go, oh, I don't know, so I'm shutting down now. I'm going to go get some heatsink paste. All right. This one's basically empty. But, yeah, see, I could have just not reflowed the Intel chip either. But I know, first of all, it's right here beside the NVIDIA chip. Second of all, the Intel chip is sort of the master chip. It controls the NVIDIA chip, which is sort of a slave, secondary, whatever you want to call it, chip. And yes, I used master and slave precisely because there's these horrible people in the tech industry that are trying to sanitize the language even though context matters. Master, chip, slave chip. Get over it, you friggin' rainbow-haired weirdos. Hello, Mark Linford. So, here's what we're going to do. This thing's cooling off, hopefully. I'm going to put my phone back over here where I can see the chat. This thing's cooling off. I'm going to empty out this tube. 150 degrees. It's comfortable. 150 Fahrenheit, by the way. I'm operating in Fahrenheit. 150 Celsius would be pretty terrifying. This Arctic Silver tube's almost empty, so I'm trying to kind of finish it off, you know. By the way, this is completely out of nowhere, but one of the things I've been doing lately is watching various videos about Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. And one of the games that I found when I started getting into emulation, and I downloaded like 1,000 Nintendo games, which I still have to this day, by the way, there was a game that has to be the most like body horror, disgusting video game I've ever seen in my life. And it was made for the Nintendo, and it's a shooter that is very similar to Life Force or Gradius. It's called Abadox. You should go look that one up. Go watch a long play of it. It's I don't know, man. If they could make a video game and call it Disgusting the Game, I think that one might qualify. But I'm guessing that many of you, like me when I first found it, had never heard of the thing. And Jesus, like, Life Force is supposed to be like a giant snake takes over a planet and the planes fly into it and like shoot up the stuff inside. So that's, you know, kind of by itself, right? But then Abadox is like this parasite takes over a whole planet, and there's like animated giant tongues on the NES of all things. It's freaking ridiculous. Like, just, ugh. If you see it, if you ever see it, it's amazing. Yeah, I can't even describe it to you. Somebody was having a friggin', somebody had just watched Alien, if you ask me, and that's where they got that idea from. Anyway, let's see. I think that pad might be a little too far over. You know what? I know which chip it goes on. Why don't we just put it on the chip directly? There's no need to second guess myself. I can just lay it down here. If it didn't come off on my finger the wrong way. Thanks. Thanks a lot for that, by the way. Okay. Yeah, I think... Does this cover up anything? Yeah, it does. It covers up a screw, so that's kind of a problem. I'm going to need to combine this. Yeah. You have a GPU that shows signs of VRAM failure. If it's got dedicated VRAM, reflow the sucker. Yeah, throw it in the oven. Take all the thin plastic and labels and stuff off of it and throw that sucker in the oven, man. Throw it in the oven. I don't know, 375 for what, 10 minutes? I have no idea exactly how long to leave it in the oven. But yeah. Absolutely throw it in the oven. Okay, we need to put this together. Get this out of my way. I don't know what that was. I hope I don't find out later what that was. Oh wait, I think I actually do know what that was. Yep, the magnetic strip on the bottom of that silicone mat stole one of my screws. Okay. Alright, now let's see how bad this gets. There are so many wires that can go wrong. And I'll probably screw up all of them. Yeah, that daughter board really doesn't want to go in nicely. Okay. Okay. Come on. There you go. Okay. Let's get reassembling. Patch this bad boy up. Everybody can see okay, I hope. I'm going to zoom it out a bit just to give you a better view. Huh. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Pop a screw here. This is so tedious. I honestly can't stand just putting this stuff back together. It's so boring. Uh-oh. Yep, that little speaker wire needs to come up. It definitely isn't supposed to be down there. And we need to plug it back in. Plug it back in. You can go back. I give you permission to go back. Go back. This is like the tiniest connector ever. I don't know what to do with this. I thought getting it out was a problem, but getting it back in is just as bad. Okay. Yeah, there's one motherboard screw over here. Come on. Go in there. Let's put this little cable back before I forget, because I will totally forget. Oh, the documentary's not really coming along. Been occupied with actual paying crap and family stuff, and you get the idea. What? You can go in. It's allowed. You can go in. Go in, you piece of junk. God, that wire does not want to go back home. Go in. Alright, there we go. Just had to say mean things to it and it went in. Alright, that's one. Yeah. I'm kind of torn on these Dell XPS machines that are designed to be easier to get to some of the parts on, because while they kind of bring back the glory days of the whole, here's a door, you can get to the RAM or whatever a little easier, blah blah blah, it also actually kind of makes things worse, because now you don't have the single backplate design, and where just everything is there. You just pop 12 screws out and there it is. So let's see. All that runs there, that runs there. The wireless card needs to go back home. You're going to have to text me, buddy. Someone tried to call me on my personal phone, and I know who it is, but they're going to have to wait just a bit. Annoying. Alright. Let's see. We had the heatsink in first, so let's put that back first. And then we'll put the fans in a little later. Come on. This goes here. So let's go ahead and put it back. And while I'm looking at this, let's tighten this up. Actually, these hinges are tight. There's probably no need to even look them over. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Oh, if you all could see what I see. There's a very good-looking woman standing very close by, and I'm definitely not making her up. Isn't that right, mute woman? Now, the woman that may or may not exist may or may not have left. They're always on holiday, aren't they, Moss? Oh, shut up, Dumpo. The elephant who got dumped. 3 bonus points that don't get you anything if you can name where that's from. Okay, I gotta be honest. If it was an angry customer, then the big question is, what did I sell her? I'll leave that to you to figure out. Don't say heroin. CPU fans. I love putting back CPU fans, don't you? No? Me neither. Now, this is a fun thing right here. See, sometimes I make a mistake and don't put the CPU fan connector back in and have to take the thing halfway back apart to plug in the teeny tiny fan connector. Every single time that happens, it's embarrassing. Every single time. Not only is it embarrassing, but it means more work for me to do. And neither of those things are good. If I have to do work, something is wrong. Why should I have to do work? I'm a nerd. The whole point of being a nerd is you can figure out ways to not do work. Right? Right? Now we know why no companies will hire me. I'm the kind of guy that walks into the job interview, and why do you want this job? Because I want to make money. We'll let you know. Spoilers, they won't let me know. We have to feed this video cable back through. Oh, God. Hey, they're accusing me of selling you an Apple product. How much do they think I hate you? Yeah, they said, gasp, you sold her an Apple product. Oh, okay. Thanks. Now I have surpassed the friend zone and entered the fiend zone. Much appreciated, chat. Grr. Oh, hell, I don't remember how this dumb bracket goes in here. I know that it goes to this thing, but I don't remember how. Is this it? This looks like the way. Ugandan Knuckles, I need your help. Ugandan Knuckles laughs in Ugandan. Oh. Hey, you're reminding me of things in the chat. You're reminding me so many things. So let me tell you a couple of fun things. The first thing that comes to mind is some managers, especially in like California, were getting very angry for a while there because they, and I've actually flown out to California to San Francisco to interview with a company before. Companies will pay round-trip tickets for you to come interview with them. Like, I guess they just are that rich. But a lot of them, this wasn't like Google. This was a small tech company. But there was a while there that managers at companies were getting pissed off because people would get an interview with them. They get plane tickets, and they'd supposed to become, you know, they're supposed to come and interview. I have messed that sentence up a couple times, and I'm not redoing it. And they would never show up for the interview. They'd fly, have their little vacation there when they were supposed to be interviewing, and fly back. And the managers would go straight to Twitter and go, "Oh, you could at least come to the interview. Jesus Christ, why are people doing this?" And it's pretty terrible of those people. I mean, honestly, that's pretty heinous. I would not recommend doing that at all. But it's one of those weird things that happened for a while there in good old America, and never really left my mind. It's just like, wow, those people are, you know, if they weren't ever intending to do anything, it's like, okay, well, it's a real clever way to get someone to pay for your travel for your little vacation in San Fran. But, wow, what dickish fraudsters. You're bad people. Congratulations on, perhaps finding one of the best r/unethical life pro tips. Yeah, some people really are shameless. Me, I just pirate everything. That's about the extent of it. It's about as bad as I get. I pirate everything. And I tell everybody else to pirate everything. And I go to threads where artists are complaining about AI and tell them that they're stupid because they don't understand the machine is not literally making a Xerox of their friggin' artwork. I don't understand how AI works. Let me complain about how AI works. What? No. Just shut up. If you don't know what you're talking about, just shut up. I have lost more than one screw, it looks like, and I may never find them. This battery had about 1 billion screws holding it in. Oh, the other thing. You had mentioned needing X years of experience. There is an image out there, and I encourage all of you to go search for it, where the guy who created Node.js was sent a job ad saying, like, we need you to have at least 7 years of experience in Node. And the guy who made Node.js, he replied to this with, well, I mean, technically I started writing it in X years, so I guess I could say I have at least like 6 years of experience, but it was so friggin' great. Hey, bring that back. I want to show that to them. If you all know the TV show that I was referencing earlier, my extremely impressive and intelligent female companion who is not bringing the thingy gave me a wonderful Christmas gift. The internet. I have the internet. If anything happens to this box, planes will fall from the sky like tables. The world, civilization will tear itself apart like an angry child with a napkin, and it has all these really cool things in it too. So yeah, if you haven't figured it out yet, go figure it out. Thank you, by the way, for that wonderful gift, and for bringing it over here, and for tolerating me, and for not stabbing me in the neck with a number 2 pencil, like Dennis Leary probably told you to do. You know, I'd like to see if I can find those other screws real quick. It's so hard to tell the screws from the leaves. Dragging in all these dead leaves because of winter. I don't think I'm ever going to find them. Wait. Is that one? No, that would be a chunk of plastic that fell off some other computer. Alright, I'm not going to worry about it. If the battery's missing 2 screws, it's not the end of the world. Honestly, you'd be shocked how few you actually need. Alright. Oh God, they figured it out. One of them figured it out. At least one of them. Yeah, I always feel kind of weird when I talk about, like, job-related stuff. Dude, if I made an AI, it would be like Tay, the chatbot Tay on steroids. Like, I would have that thing saying the most reprehensible crap you could imagine. And, I'd have it trolling the ATF, the FBI, the CIA. I basically would, I'd model it after 4chan and Spike Cohen, the libertarian guy who runs around trolling the ever-living crap out of 3-letter agencies on Facebook all day. Which is hilarious, by the way. It'd basically just run around hassling the crap out of the government and easily offended snowflakes. Until enough pants were shat within that the used market would be flooded with slightly shat pants. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you remember Richmond. I can do the voice. If you want me to do the voice, I can totally do the voice. I can do quite a few voices. I've watched that show so many times. You know, it's very difficult being a goth and working on computers. Nobody takes me seriously because I'm not cheery enough. Because I'm not a cockney goth. They're too cheerful all the time. But if you'd like to stop being a goth and start being a successful member of society, Goth the Boss, remember the name. Imagine Gore Gamer is probably laughing and peeing themselves at this point. An ill wind is blowing. Well, that's just bloody rude. One of my favorite lines from that show was when he's like, your telly is too big for your flat. He's like, just sit in the sink. I'm not sitting in the sink again. Oh, why is there smoke coming out? Nah, I'm kidding. Fortunately, I've already erased this computer, so there's no password, so I don't have to think about it. Yeah, leaving that window open might not have been the best idea. Let's pull the camera all the way back out. What do you say? Get my ending slideshow back up. Owner, welcome. Who are we owning? All right. Oh, you guys can't see this, can you? I mean, you might kind of sort of be able to see it, but I guess not. Display. What? What the hell just happened? Okay, the NVIDIA is showing. That doesn't mean it's going to work. So here's what would happen. And I know you can't see it very well, but I use Geeks 3D's FurMark, which is a GPU and CPU burn-in suite here. Yep, and I hit GPU stress test. Now, it's showing the NVIDIA chip now. It's showing the chip. The Reflow fixed the damn thing. And in fact, this thing's good enough. If I turn on 4X MSAA, it should be a... Yeah, it's keeping up. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that giant gaping hole. Look at that furry donut. That is wonderful. We have successfully repaired the malfunctioning NVIDIA chip on the XPS 159570. Yes, this is a good day. I can't wait to take this woman's money. That's what's all about in the end, is taking people's money. Okay, we're done. God almighty. How long did that take? Actually, how long has this stream been running? It hasn't been that long. I'd say a little over an hour? I think it does say a little over an hour. I'll be damned. That's great. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I want to mention a peeve that I have. If you're looking, maybe you can't see it on the camera, but down here under the Dell logo, there's a dot. That's because that's the webcam. Some genius decided to start putting the webcam down here, so you get real nice, like double or triple chin action going on. They can just see that fat roll with all the unshaven hairs just sort of like rolling up, because you got this webcam down here instead of up here where it actually belongs, so they can make sure that you look as Jabba the Hutt-like as humanly possible, because it's a high-end computer, you fat fuck. All right. Now we're done. What operating system? It had Windows 11, I think, when it came in, but I nuked it, and I put Windows 10 Pro. Because, yeah. Let's see. All right, I guess there's not much else to say. It's done. The damn thing's finally done. And it didn't take as long as I thought either. All right, I'm going to tell this customer, yes, please come by. And I'm going to delete the spam and close all the camera warnings saying that I moved too much. And thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm going to cut you loose and maybe play that nifty song that was playing on the intro again. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming. Take care.